Why aren't the 2024 Rangers getting more national respect? And I know this isn't a surprise to you guys, but now that we're actually in surprise, I was looking at a couple of different things, and I just wanted to lay it out like this. If you look at betting odds, for example, Rangers 14-1, and CBS Sports had the playoff teams most likely to miss this year's playoffs, and they rank the Rangers highly in that. If you look at win total, 89.5 predicted win total, which is fourth best in the American League and seventh best in Major League Baseball. And this goes back to your John Smoltzes, who will be on with Sean and RJ tomorrow at 9. This goes back to your MLB top 10s. This goes back to your MLB top 100. It just feels like people across the nation are looking at this perplexed, and they're like, how the hell did this team win a World Series?
Sure. I mean, even us last year in mid-September, the end of September, none of us felt good that they were going to go on the run to win the World Series. They were not playing great baseball, and then they did. They played great. They went 11-0 on the road in the playoffs, which will never be matched again. But they got hot at the right time. They played their best baseball at the right time. They had 2 starting pitchers and 2 relief pitchers get hot at the right time. They were scoring in waves in innings where it just felt like the other team couldn't stop the bleeding until the Rangers put a 5 spot on the board. But that being said, this is all about paper right now. If I put on paper, this is the starting rotation: Eovaldi, Gray, Dunning, Heaney, Bradford. On a piece of paper, that does not match up with a World Series contender. If you look at the bullpen does not match up with, oh my gosh, if they're winning after 6 innings, this game is like, to be honest, if you're losing after 6 innings, you're going to lose almost every game to the Houston Astros. On a piece of paper, with what they have 2 of probably the 8 best closers in Major League Baseball, because Presley is great.
And it's going to pitch their 8th and 9th.
He moves to the 8th inning, and maybe they use Hader in the 8th because they have 2 out of 3 lefties coming up. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Houston, if you're getting to the 8th inning and coming up is Simeon, Seager, and Carter. They might be, well, Hader, you're pitching the 8th inning, and we'll save Presley for Garcia and Josh Young in the 9th inning if everything works out. So I do look at this team. I think the Rangers are going to play over 500. I think the Rangers have a chance to make the playoffs, and the Rangers have a chance to win the World Series. But when I do look at teams like the Braves, when I look at the Dodgers, when you look at some other teams, it makes sense that they're not favorites. It doesn't mean they can't or won't win, but then you have also Seager. When is he going to start the year? Maybe on time, maybe not. Young, is he going to start the season on time? Maybe, maybe not.
Hopefully we'll find out tonight.
Will DeGrom come back? Will Scherzer come back? Will Malley come back? These are all questions that are tough to just have all yeses to, but
I think one of the other things, Mike, too, is it's hard. It's hard to repeat.
Yeah, the Yankees are the last.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do that. You just played 162. You play we've talked to a lot of the guys. You played more baseball than anybody except for Arizona, and so you've gone through all that. You have to redo that, and you just pointed out Seager and Young, those injuries. And somebody else is probably going to get hurt at some point through the season, and people are probably just looking at that going, hey, it's just that difficult to do it, Kevin. Now, that being said, we've also, here in Texas, always felt like they've just been underrepresented nationally.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much the East Coast, West Coast bias has to do with the fact that Gulf Coast doesn't get that much love.
Oh, no, we're a victim of Gulf Coast bias.
Yeah, so, but that being said, like, we're not in the major market mecca. We are a major market, but we're not in the meccas of where most of those contents come from.
We also, if you're just looking at coverage, I think Seager has a chance to win the MVP. Seager, you know this through card collecting.
Yes.
Seager's not a guy people collect. Like,
it's true.
If you look at it, we don't have a Shohei Ohtani. We don't have a Mike Trout. And I know
or Acuna or
even
Soto.
a Bryce Harper, who you're like, he is
Yes.
followed tremendously nationally. You didn't get, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, the guy who went to the Dodgers, the pitcher that came over from Japan. Yamamoto. You don't have Yamamoto here. So, yes, there are some very good players. There's all-stars that are going to be here, and they're going to repeat as all-stars. You might even have a new all-star in Evan Carter. You have a super stud who could possibly win Rookie of the Year in Wyatt Langford if Evan Carter doesn't win it. But you also don't have Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto on the same team that's on arguably the second or third most popular team in all of Major League Baseball history. You have Yankees, Red Sox, and Dodgers. Those are the three most popular teams in Major League Baseball. So I understand what people are saying, and I saw, Spittle sent us a good article on this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm just, okay, but I can't make up things just because we did win the championship. It's awesome. We are defending champs. It doesn't mean there's going to be a national spotlight on us because we don't have Patrick Mahomes.
Have you seen who's gotten the most social media buzz?
I would assume it's the
Feels
Dodgers.
Like it's got to be the Dodgers.
No, I'm sorry, for the Texas Rangers.
Oh,
like which specific individual?
I mean, it's got to be Jonah Heim, considering they left him off that stupid list of the top 10, and everybody griped about it.
I feel like the look has been Seager the most because he's starting on the injured list, but I would maybe lean towards Wyatt Langford being here.
That's another one.
You would lean incorrectly. The correct answer is Logan Bursick Harrington. Now, yes, that look is fair. His last name is Bursick-Harrington. The 18 characters, including a hyphen, would tie the longest name in Major League Baseball history. And
Have you seen his jersey?
Evan Grant took a picture of this, and it went everywhere.
It's from one love handle to the other, across the top of his shoulders, through his back, all the way down to the next love handle.
The closest I've ever seen is Salta La Macchia.
That's a long, Salta La Macchia. That was definitely a long one as well.
So that is the mother-father situation.
I assume, to be fair, I did not inquire about that, but I will check in on that.
I have no clue, Mike. I don't know the answer to that.
But isn't that when most people have a hyphen last name, they've taken on the mother's last name and the father's last name?
Yeah, I believe that is correct. But yeah, Evan Grant had originally put out, now you see why the lettering is so small. But my point is, I know that's just a fun aside, but while you hear about all the people that you just mentioned, Harper, Yamamoto, Shohei, is one of the things that's popped early in spring training for the Rangers is, look how long this guy's last name is. And, they won the World Series.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that has gotten the traction. And don't get me wrong.
The way the Rangers won it was fluky. We watched this team, though.
Yeah.
And, that's why we don't believe it was fluky. And I don't think the Rangers fans believe it was fluky either, that they did it. They did it with, now, doing it with two pitchers is very difficult. That's a very difficult thing.
True.
But we watched this team hit all season long, and when they are locked into their thing, whenever they're locked into forcing pitchers to pitch to them, they are one of the best, man.
And unfortunately, the last 100 games of the season is what really, I think, shaped a lot of people's minds that it was fluky. Because let's say this would have been the COVID season, and the Rangers finished the regular season off 40-20. I feel like then they win the World Series, club everyone on road games. I feel like everyone would have been like, holy crap, this team was amazing all year. But the last 100 games, they were very mediocre.
Right. They were, like you said, 40-20 and 2 games under 500 the rest of the way. So I look at it, and if you wanted all the hype and buzz here that they're going to repeat and they're going to be tough to beat, you would have, if you re-signed Montgomery and signed Yamamoto,
oh my God,
all the hype and buzz would be like, dude, they just kept Montgomery and they added Yamamoto, and they could be getting back to Grom and Scherzer after the All-Star break. Now, all of a sudden, you would see the over-under being probably 95.5. You would see the odds, instead of being 14-1 to repeat as the World Series champs, it might be 8-1 to repeat as the World Series champs. So, you have to look at the offseason. I'm happy with what the Rangers did. Could they have done more with their budget? I guess not. But if they would have really gone all in and said, screw it, let's do it again, 3 years. And, they did it 2 years. They did it with the middle infield, and then they did it with pitching last offseason. If they would have gone all in again and been like, we're going to pay we're going to give $60 million to Major League Baseball and say, give it to the poor teams because we're going all in.
Somebody just texted in, Kevin. This is interesting. When the Dude Perfect video drops, so the Rangers will get more attention nationally, at least with the youth. Over the weekend, my son Carter popped out of his room, his cave.
Oh, congratulations.
No, not like that. He popped out of his cave, and he came over, and he was like, Dad, have you ever heard of Dude Perfect? And I was like, yeah. As a matter of fact, one of the guys on Dude Perfect used to work with us, old Kevin Sparkman, who's now working with them. And I'm still shocked by that. But then you go back and think about what you saw him do athletically, and it was like, oh yeah, that dude's like, he fits in perfect with those guys. So yeah, one of our old KNC nighttime friends is doing some great stuff with Dude Perfect.
You love to see it. You love to hear it.